Hello, good evening and welcome everyone to the Flat Out E-Racing V8 Championship. Tonight we're starting off with round 3. This is season 4 of this V8 Championship, and tonight we are a brand new circuit for the V8s. We're at the Blue Moon Bay infield circuit and we're just starting qualifying. As you can see, everybody is streaming out the pits. So the guys are just getting the outlap underway, so we'll catch up with them shortly. But tonight, I'm pleased to say, I've got a new co-commentator with me. Jay is joining me. Are you there, Jay? How are you? I'm very good. I'm very good. Really looking forward to this because this is a bit of a different circuit because we've had the first 2 rounds. We had the Red Bull Ring, and then we had Spa. Well-known Formula 1 circuits, and now we've gone across the pond and we are in America at a real mixed bag, this one. I don't know how much racing you've done on this one, but it's to paraphrase Murray Walker, it's a track of 2 halves. We've got the section that we can see them coming onto now, which is like a banked IndyCar kind of circuit, and then we've got the real technical, low second gear hairpin section in the mid part of the lap. So this could, play to different drivers' strength and give us some really good racing. I don't know what you think. Well, just to give everybody a quick heads up of where we are at the moment, because we've, as I already mentioned, we're 3 rounds in. We've had 2 already. Championship-wise, Season4 is the driver at the moment who is running away with it. He's got a full 50 points from the first 2 rounds, which is maximum points, and he's followed by Select and then Lockstack. So they are the sort of top 3 in the championship at the moment, so we'll try and give you a rough idea of how the championship evolves as the night goes on. But just to let you know what the race format is tonight, we just are in our 10-minute qualifying, and then after that we'll be straight into our 40-minute race. Now, there's no compulsory pit stop, but due to the settings of fuels and tyres, the drivers will have to have at least 1 pit stop. And what we've seen from the first couple of events, there seems to be 2 different strategies. There tends to be a 2-stopper, which is where the guys go absolutely flat out between the lights to flag, and then there's the more cautionary drivers, and one of which is up there in 3rd place at the moment in qualifying is Timorous, who seems to be, he's not really the fast and the furious, he's the fast and the frugal, because he's able to stretch that fuel and tyres out quite incredibly. So it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do, because I think the interesting thing tonight, Jay, is that we've got quite a short lap time here. They're coming around, I think, in about 1 minute 10 or less than that, so that gives them a lot more flexibility on pit strategy, doesn't it? And considering they're all on, they're all using the same BMW, it is literally down to the driver and maybe a little bit of setup. So, and also, I noticed Stormfly seems to be picking up a nice bit of slipstream here at the moment down the straight. Because the other driver to keep an eye on, I'd say, is Dan, because he can sometimes, towards the end of qualifying, throw out a really fast lap. He tends to build up and then that sort of chuck a fast one in at the end. So, and see, Stormfly is on the back of Season4 getting a really good slipstream there, and he's nearly 0.1 up at the first sector already. But I think they're catching traffic, and I think that's going to unfortunately mess it up for him. So the other question for you here, Jay, looking at it, we're nearly halfway through qualifying. Most of them are on the racing super softs. Would you go for a 2 run here, or would you just stay out, get in the groove, and try and work your lap time down, despite the fact you're getting that little bit of tyre wear? Well, they've probably got a good 15% wear at the moment, so you know, and they've got sort of just over 5 minutes in. I'm just getting some feedback through the comments on YouTube, and they're struggling to hear you out there, Jay. So I don't know if you know, I know we had a bit of a chat about it earlier, but I don't know if you can have a look and see if there's anything you can to wind up a little bit your end to maybe get the volume up. But if you can, you know, take out the top of your PlayStation, give it a whack with a hammer, and see if you can get it working a little bit better. Well, while you're doing that, I'll just have a quick look. We're going to go on board with Stormfly around this lap, and this won't take very long to talk. At the moment, he is 0.4 a second up on Pineapple Head, who's putting quite a stunning lap there. Oh, and just as I go to Stormfly for a fast lap, guess what? He's gone to the pits. So that's what we got. Oh, they're all diving for the pits. Pineapple Head's gone. Matteo's gone. Dan is coming round towards the end of the lap. It looks like they're coming in for. They've obviously decided that, you know, 7 or 8 minutes is enough on those super softs on a first set. So it looks like those guys are going back out again, and Stormfly's back out already. So see, Dan's just gone through, and he's not got any quicker on that particular one. Pineapple Head's just come back out the pits, keeping out of the way as we work our way through. Be interesting to see whether, for that long straight, whether these guys are going to try and pick up a. Oh, Locksteck's just gone up into second there. So I'll just hop on with Stormfly as he's out. Oh, Locksteck's got that gap down to Stormfly down to just 0.1 of a second. So I think we're on for a bit of a grandstand finish this qualifying. So how's the spanner work going there, Jay? Are you getting any more volume out of your machine? I don't know, we'll have to wait for our guys out there in YouTube world, but it sounds a bit better to me. So let me just check. I've got one of my worldly watchers out there. You know, well, he's still looking for the stream, so that doesn't really help the situation. But I will hopefully hear from who was that posted? Peer Kings, if you can hear us, if you can see if Jay's coming through a bit better now. We've got a third. Oh, so still can't hear anything. So that's not. So, well, there's a bit of distortion there, but I can definitely hear you a bit louder and clearer. Well, definitely louder there, the Jay. So, hopefully you can hear something out there, Peer Kings. Come on, we're relying on you out there watching. So, we've got 1 minute 40 left. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I have got Stormfly. If you want to hop on board with Stormfly, do you want to talk him around the lap and see if the guys out there can hear you? So he's just coming around the last bend onto the main straight. I don't, you're doing a fantastic job there, Jay, but unfortunately, there is, they are not hearing you at all out there, so we will just do some quick double checks on volume output to headphones. I'm sorry if this is blowing the stream out there. We are, okay. It sounds to be there's something that's actually killing your audio completely. Chat audio, add players. No, your priority party chat. Yeah, that's what we want. No, I can see you in the chat. Let's just have a look at the chat settings before we got a little bit of time remaining, so we will just go quickly. Sorry out there, I think it's probably paused the microphone audio is back. Right, in party settings, very quickly, press the PlayStation button quickly, and go to the on party settings. That's where the problem is, I think. Go to the party. Can you see that? You there, Jay? I've lost him. Are you there, Jay? Hello, you're back. Right, okay, if you go into the party, on the right hand side there's party settings. Click on that, and I think you find the fourth one down, allow your voice to be shared, needs to be put on always allow. That's the problem. Welcome to the... Right, okay, thankfully you're back. Right, hello world. Can you, Jay, talk to the world. I think you're now through. We fixed our technical problem.
Hopefully the sound engineer has cleaned up everything.
we will be shooting him after the race, but thankfully we're here just on time. Yeah, Perkins, yeah. Perkins, thank you for your feedback, or Perkins, I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to say that. Thank you very much. We now, hopefully you can hear him loud and clear, and thankfully we're here ready for the start. Here we go, Stormfly held on to pole, Season4 second, Logitech third, and Dan fourth. The guys that I would have sort of predicted to be up in that top four. So here we go, grid start, 40-minute race. We're going to see probably two pit stops from each driver. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Dan in the yellow car there tends to be the thinking driver in these. It doesn't tend to go for any dive bombing at the start. So I can see him working his way through. But it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. And they've got damage on full, so these guys are going to give each other space. So as we go around the first corner, Season4 has got the jump on Stormfly. And here we go. Logitech is there hanging on in third. And Matteo looks like he's got the jump on Dan. Are you spotting anything further down there, Jay?
I was just having a look at the rear of the grid on the start. I don't know whether Andy J just had a problem or whether there was a slight false start jump on there. It was just slow to get away.
I think it's that false start penalty. If you do go that bit earlier, it just sort of and it holds you back for a few seconds. So it looks like Stormfly was trying to go down the inside of the sinkhole there at the left-hand hairpin, but couldn't get it done. But he's tucked up right behind him as they come round onto the bank corner to complete lap one already. This is going to be, well, with 1 minute 10 laps, we're going to see probably about 35 laps tonight. So this is going to be quite frantic stuff tonight. So here we go. Go for it, Jay.
Tim Rush is just pulling slightly ahead of the Pineapple Head. He was shaping him up nicely around that fast left-hander just back onto the home straight. Pineapple Head just tries to take him back slightly on that first turn one left-hander, just couldn't make it stick. Tim Rush is still holding on. It's still 7th and 6th battle.
I've just jumped with it, and yeah, you're exactly right. They're flying through there together. It looks like Pineapple Head is looking a bit racier at the moment, and Timorous is one of the drivers who is very frugal on his tyres and fuel. So he may not have quite the pace at the moment, but it's quite likely as Pineapple Head's going up the inside of the left-hand hairpin, but Timorous has got the inside for the next one, so he's likely to pull that one back. They're being respectful of each other at the moment. No door mirrors have been exchanged as they come back down to the last corner, back onto the main straight. Timorous is going in. Oh, Pineapple Head got it all sorts of sideways there, and then Snod is now coming in to join the party, and Snod's taking a high line. Very much an IndyCar kind of activity that. And Snod looks like he's got the drive on Pineapple Head down the straight. He's got straight by him. I don't know if that was slipstream. I don't know if you saw that one happen there, Jay.
I was just flicking back up front just to make sure that all the front guys were still line and stern. But I did catch the aftermath of that, of just him sweeping by on the straight there. It did look like there was some slipstreaming involved. He's subsequently got past Timorous, I think, as well.
He has. I've just picked that up on screen. So I say Timorous may just not have quite the pace the guys around him, but he may just come into play as this race develops, because we've got a 40-minute race. So we've seen around about lap 13 to 14 for the two stoppers. Oh, and Timorous has gone under the inside of Snod at the right-hand hairpin, and then it looks like Pineapple Head's trying to capitalise on it. He's right under the back wing of Snod as they come round to join the main straight. Yeah, again, they do seem to have maybe... Oh, I think Snod went a little bit wider and just clipped the wall, and that just takes so much momentum. And Pineapple Head sweeps down on the inside and they're side by side down into this first corner, which I don't know how much you... Go.
Oh, sorry, Trev. Just a bit further ahead, we've got Matteo defending against Dan TGT. Who's just done him on the inside there on the first corner. That was a nice little slipstream pass into the first corner.
And the other one was Stormfly did get by Sincor, but then ran wide at the first turn, and Sincor then came back at him. So Stormfly's obviously decided he's waited long enough, and I think I'm going to hop on board with Stormfly. We should be able to get some great shots here as we're going to the right-hand hip. We need to come up with some names for these corners. I don't know what we can, I don't like all these sort of turn 7, turn 8s. We need something a bit more exciting than that, don't we?
Yeah.
As we come around the left-hand hairpin onto the main straight, it'll be interesting to see how much effect the slipstream has for Stormfly. He's just lost a little bit through Sincor around that last sort of tight left-hander, and as they go around the bank curve, Sincor's pulled out nearly half a second now, so I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference. But looking in our rear view mirror of Stormflies, we've got Lockstack coming up behind us as well. So this is very similar to what we've seen in the first couple of rounds, that these guys up the front really do run extremely tight. So let's just have a quick look. Is that Dan, you were just mentioning a little bit further down?
He's just pulling out almost a second gap now on Matteo. Matteo could be thinking about the long race.
Dan's very good at that as well. I've noticed he's somebody that he's not one of those sort of first corner dive bombers. Just talking about dive bomber, Stormfly's just outbraked himself at the right-hand hairpin and falling back a little way from Sincor into Stormfly. Stormfly's fallen away from Sincor back into Lockstack. So it's still looking quite tight up the front here, and I'm sat on board with Dan, and he's now catching the three cars in front as well. So as I say, Dan, he's a bit of a slow burner. He's got a great speed in that car, and he has. I've seen him pull out some pole position times as well. But he never seems to be one that gets his elbows out the first corner, but just gradually picks them off as the race goes on. So I think this battle up the front is going to be really interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the strategy shakes out.
Yeah, I just looked at Lockcheck coming down the home straight. Had a nice little slipstream past Stormfly. Stormfly just came straight back at him and took him into that sort of 90-degree right-hand kink there.
And Dan, ever opportunistic, looking to go down the inside of Lockstack there at the right-hand hairpin. He's got the move done there, but he's going to be on the wrong side of the track for the next left-hand one. Yeah, he's gone a little bit deep there. Lockstack's just slid back up the inside, and Dan's wide on the grass there and still there in fourth. So that was a little bit touchy-feely, but I don't think there was anything overly out of order happening there. So these 4 or 5 guys, along with Matteo at the front, are definitely making a break from the guys towards the back of the field. And we're just getting this. We've just got some input on our favourite medium of YouTube, so I'll just see what's going on there. CCQ4 is saying go all the Polish drivers, so that'll be Matteo and Lopstek, and the guy we're missing is Select. Where is Select? Now he's a driver that's normally up the front. Is he a bit further down towards the back?
Yeah, Select is sitting currently in 9th, just behind Cajun 100.
So I think he must have had a problem, because Select's normally further up. I'd see him up sort of somewhere between Matteo, Snod, that kind of position. So he's definitely dropped out. We've got a bit more feedback on YouTube. Hello Neil, good to see. Nice to see you can join us tonight. So yeah, it's these 4 guys at the front seem to be gapping Matteo a little bit, I think. So he does seem to be drifting away from the back of this pack. And I look like we've got a spinner down at... Timorous has dropped down... I think Cajun 100 spun, and Timorous somewhere has dropped down to 10th. So he's really fallen away there, so I don't quite know what's happened there, because normally I'd expect him to be a little bit further forward than this. And currently he's 18 seconds off the front of the field. Now, he's not really going to gain, I would say. I'm not sure what the pit stop loss is here, but he's going to have to go some, I think, to bring his sort of frugal strategy into play on that one, do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to have to try and make those pit stops work for him. I have no doubt that he'll definitely pull some time back. It's all about just tweaking that setting, tweaking that plan that he had for the race setup, and trying to make it work, see if he can get back up there.
So we're 9 minutes in, so they're probably, for the guys on the 2-stopper, they're probably about 2/3 the way through their first stint. We expect to see them in around about 13 or 14 minutes into the race, and that will obviously shake things up. And also, with those guys at the front, and with the way that they've evolved Gran Turismo, the loss on pit stops is massive compared to what it used to be. Because you used to be able, I can remember in the early days of this, you used to be able to shoot in the pits, change tyres, refuel, and you'd lose about 7 seconds. It's now something, depending on the circuit, between 30 and 40 seconds. Just watch, we're just on board with Timorous, and he's just dived down the inside of Andy J at the first corner. So whatever happened with him, he's working his way back up. So it was obviously some kind of mistake. It was also interesting that Cajun 100 was spun out at the corner as well, so I wonder if those two had a coming together. So I'm just going to hop back up the front, because I've just noticed that in 3rd place we've now got Dan, who unseen by us has got through into 3rd. Stormfly's still there in 2nd, with Dan tucked behind him in 3rd, and then Lockstack in 4th. But the guy who's the big winner in all this, as Dan just slides very neatly round that bank corner underneath Stormfly, but Stormfly's got the draft on Dan, and Lockstack's coming to join the party as well, and Lockstack slid through into 3rd, and I think he may be trying to go the whole way to 2nd as well, but Stormfly's trying to go the long way around the outside. He's looking a bit loose. No, he seems to have gathered it all up. Stormfly's there in 3rd. Dan's pulled a little bit of a gap on those two guys. As I said earlier, Dan is the one that tends to play the long game and doesn't, go charging in at the first corner, and just works his way up through the field as the race goes on. The Stormfly now has dropped back down to 3rd, and it looked like we're hot back. Lockstack is diving up. There's a bit of a launch job there by Lockstack. No, I didn't think he was going to get that one stopped. But he's going up to the next left-hand hairpin. He's down the inside. He looks like he's got it stopped this time. But Stormfly's going on the cutback. No, he can't quite get it done. So here we go, round for another lap, and see if Stormfly now. Stormfly clatters the wall there. Look at the time that's lost him. So Stormfly, I think, was our pole position. Now he's dropped all the way down to 4th. So, and Matteo seems to be coming back into play, who's only a second behind. So it's not really worked out for Stormfly in this first section of the race, has it?
No, I was just keeping an eye on Andy J. He's just had the first pit stop of the for the evening. He's just gone into the pit stop, taking some fresh racing mediums, come back out.
So we can see that we know he was towards the back of the pack. Now if I remember right, he was just been overtaken by Timorous, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So this will give us a fair idea of the pit lane loss, because I've just hopped on board with Andy. So he's 30 seconds behind Cajun, and then and there's another 4 seconds to Timorous. So the pit stop loss is going to be about 35 seconds. So that gives us a fair idea where people will probably drop in. But I'm not quite sure with that strategy of Andy's there. I'll hop on board with him because we can bring up his dashboard. I'm not quite sure. He's gone for a virtually full tank, but that's a really early stop there, isn't it? I can't see quite what strategy he's going for with that one, because I can't imagine he was out of fuel.
No, unless he felt that the tyres were starting to wear just beyond his comfort zone. He just wanted to sort of get a fresh set on and see if he can do a long stint, just to see if he can try and undercut some people taking pit stops a bit later on. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah,
could be. I think, I can't remember if it was Andy or Blue Jones, the last race, they unfortunately rather messed up their pit stop strategy and had to go in for a pit, I think, about 1 lap from the end, which wasn't really obviously an ideal situation, particularly with Spa, because there's quite a big pit lane loss there. But yeah, it's interesting, he's gone for the medium, so he's obviously going for a longer stint there in the middle, because what I can do, if I can hop on board with Timorous, I was interested, Cajun's gone for a pit stop as well. So that's quite an early stop. Well, no, I say an early stop. It's 13 and a half minutes in, so we might start to see some of the leaders peeling in. And as Cajun comes out, he's come out just behind Andy. So Cajun's currently 11th, Andy's there in 10th. Oh, and we've got first of our leaders in the pit. Lockstack's gone early. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out for him. So that's Lockstack, Sincor and Matteo have all gone. So Dan and Stormfly have stayed out. Now the interesting one for me, and I'm not sure how it's going to shake out for him, is the driver I know I keep referring to as Timorous, who I know tends to go very gentle on tyres and fuel. Now he's through to 6th, and that's ahead of Sincor, but that's obviously down to the pit stop. So he's obviously got potentially one pit stop he can save. So I don't know whether that's going to work for me or not. I don't think we'll know until the second pit stops for the faster drivers. But I think this Timorous, will shake out a little bit further up than where he is, in sort of pit stop corrected time at the moment, which is going to put him around about 8th or 9th, I think. So it'll be interesting how that shakes out. But the one I'm just going to hop on quick with is Dan, because he stayed out. So I wonder if he is a little bit more cautious, because he's running the racing super softs, and these right hand ones, as you would expect, they're quite worn. But he's got enough fuel for another lap. So it's a pity, because we're just under 25 minutes to go. So if he could stretch that out for another 5 minutes, he could possibly have done it on one stop. So he could be possibly winding his fuel back and modifying his original 2-stop strategy into a 1-stop. Is that a reasonable thought, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he could be, although looking at his fuel level, he is probably going to have to hit quite soon, which wouldn't quite take him to halfway point.
But he might be able to stretch it out in the second half and just go for that frugal run, because I think this is him diving down possibly towards the pits. No, he's going for another lap. The red light of fuel is flashing. He's doing that thing we all do on the motorway. It's like, I can get to the next service area, or I can get to the next petrol station, and just hoping that the fuel gauge isn't quite right. And so he could be trying to stretch this, because another minute, what is that going to take him? He's going to be on around about 22 minutes to go. So he could he be as crafty as thinking, well, I'll let the other ones believe that I'm going for a 2-stopper. They've stopped early enough. I think they're committed now for 2-stop. I don't think there's any way they can make it to the end. Dan carries on, gets it down to about 22 minutes, and then for his second stint, just winds his fuel all the way back, maybe through these technical bits of the circuit, and then turns out to full power down the straight, but he's going to save that 35-second pit stop loss.
Yeah, I mean, you could be onto a good strategy there. It's definitely a lot smarter than what I am. That's for sure.
But it's just I remember, and I think it's hopefully the guy that helped me out that night is listening. Oh, is he going to? He's going for another lap. He hasn't got that feel, surely, or has he wound it right back?
I'm looking at that, and I'd be worried.
I am. It's the fuel light's not just come on; it's now flashing. So it's that really. I think he's modified. I reckon he's wound that fuel back and he's modified it into a one-stopper. Because now Stormfly's just gone for the pit, so I reckon he's going one-stopper as well. But wasn't Stormfly in the... Stormfly's already pitted though, hasn't he?
We had Matteo, Lotchek and Sincor came into the pits.
Yeah.
I've seen Andy J come into the pits. I don't think he has.
Okay, because he's just dived to the pits, and he's very much on that cusp of being able to ring it out to a one stop. I think Dan's got to be into a one stopper here, surely, because he's got to pit surely. Otherwise, he's going down to the vapors. Yeah, he's as expected. Yeah. He's going to the pits. So the one I'm interested to hop on board now is with Sincor, because this will be interesting how he shakes out, because Sincor, I'm just going to look at his dash. Yeah, he's only got just over half a tank, and he's all over Pineapple Head here as they come out down the main straight. I think Sincor's going to get Pineapple Head as they go into turn one, and Dan is still in the pits, and Timorous, who I predicted, is going in the pits. Interestingly, Timorous is running the softs, and so Dan is going to come. He's not out of the pits yet, but then he is obviously having quite a long refuel. So Dan's dropping all the way down at the moment. It's showing 8th. So that's really not working for him at the moment. So, Dan's coming out in 6th. But interestingly, he is still ahead of Stormfly. So I think those two guys are going one stop. They've got to, surely. With 20 minutes, or just under 21 minutes to go, they must have committed to a one stop. I can't see, a two stop's not going to work from this point, is it?
No, I must admit I'm very impressed, because it does seem like Dan has now got this planned out to the milliliter of fuel in that car. So,
he got that really right, and the other one that got it right was I thought it was Stormfly, but it could come back to him, because these guys are going to have to pit.
I was just following Select. He's got some offside front damage there as he just comes into the pits.
Oh, right. What Select has got?
Just the front and the offside front tyre.
Yeah. I would put money on that. That's coming out of that last bend onto the bank section. Because you can just tempt to run wide, and it just understeers like the Titanic out into the wall there. Oh, hello, who was that? There was somebody got themselves into literally quite a bit of a spin at the right hand hairpin, I think.
Yeah, it's Andy J.
Yeah. Oh, we've lost somebody. Unfortunately, Andy's just left the room, so I don't know if he had a connection problem or decided to call it a day, but he's just retired. So we're down to 10 races now, which is still a good handy amount of races to have. We've got another watcher just joined us on YouTube, so glad to see you all with us tonight. So, but I'm just on board with Select at the moment, and I'm just surprised to see where he is. It's interesting how this championship starting to shout out, because Select is one of the drivers who generally seem very much more up the front, and he's down there. He's the filling in a Timorous Cajun 100 sandwich. So it's I'm slightly bemused as to how he's ended up down there, because I don't think he's had any dramas, or we haven't seen him particularly going off track or anything like that, or not that we've noticed him drop down the order. He just doesn't seem to have been able to break away from being in that sort of battle for 8th, 9th and 10th. So, interestingly, up the front, our supporter of the Polish, he's going to be very happy because it's a Polish 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
Yeah, they're definitely driving really well up the front there. It's getting quite close between Matteo and Dan TGT, just trying to break up that Polish 1, 2, 3 though. Just keeping an eye on him.
So, and we're pretty sure that Sincor, Lockstec and Matteo were two stopping.
Yeah, I think so.
So the one in the pound seats here, I would say, is Dan.
Yeah, because he made that stop. Just having a quick look at their tyre wear. Yeah, so Dan's definitely got the fresher tyres. He's definitely looks like he's now got past Matteo.
And how's he doing fuel wise as well? Because that's going to be the limiter. I think you can keep going on the tyres even when they're down to the canvas, but the fuel is obviously going to be the limiting factor. And the other guy that's waiting in the wings here, I notice his Stormfly is not that far behind Dan as well. So I don't think this is quite over yet. But I think the two that are going to shuffle to the top is Dan and Stormfly, who seem to have taken the timorous sort of one-stop strategy on board and have really worked magic with it.
Yeah, just having a look at Matteo, he's just approaching a quarter of a tank now. He's also sporting some front offside damage.
And he's just added to it. He's just... it's so difficult that... and is he going... Yeah, he's going for the pits to sort that damage out and to... get his fuel to the end of the race. That last corner, I'm just with Sincor at the moment. I'm just going to hop on board with him. It's that last corner. It just comes out to bite you, that wall. These two hairpins are relatively harmless. This first one here is a single apex, whereas the second one is like an old threepenny bit. You've got two apexes to touch, and it's not too bad you come out of this, but it's this next corner here where you go as wide as you can on the curb there, inside, get close to that wall, and it just wants to wash out up against that wall on the right there, and it just sort of seems to leap out and bite you, and that's where I think they're all picking up the damage, because you're so desperate to get onto this straight at flat out speed that you do everything on that last corner to make sure you're as quick as possible, because if the guy behind you gets that last corner perfect, he's going to get a great slipstream and be alongside you and overtaking you into turn one.
Yeah, definitely in the history of when I was racing around here, I did make many of mistakes on that corner that you've just nicely described there, and the amount of time lost down that home straight just by a slight sort of hesitation on that throttle on the exit, it is phenomenal.
And it's so painful as well, because when you've got it wrong, you just know it's wrong, and it's all sort of inevitable what's going to happen, and there's just you can push your foot through the so hard on the throttle it's going through the floor, it's not going to make any difference, because you're just still going to they're still going to sweep by. And then the other thing with this track is that first corner, because you come off that banking down onto the infield circuit, and there's that you're trying to brake, turn, and then you've got that really vicious change of camber, which Sincor is just coming up to as we speak. So he'll just dive on the brakes here just as he comes down. You're trail braking, and there's that really horrible change of angle, isn't there? You just unsettle, as you can see there on screen, it just unsettles the car into that first corner, and it's trying to sort of spit you out into that outer wall. So let's just have a quick look around. Have we got any little battles developing? I think we've got something by the look of it a bit further towards the back of the field. Oh, hang on a minute. We've got second, third and fourth. Lockstec, Stormfly and Dan are nose to tail at the moment. Sorry, you were going to say there, Jake?
No, I was just going to say exactly what you've just pointed out, that second, third and fourth were getting quite close.
So, interestingly in that, unseen to us, is that Stormfly, in this second phase of the race, has got by Dan. So those two guys are both on the one stop, but Stormfly seems to be making it work that bit better at the moment. But I don't think Lockstec being in front of him is particularly spoiling his strategy, because Lockstech and Sincor we're pretty confident are going to have to stop again, and Matteo we know already has stopped, so he's out of position at the moment. I guess he's down in 9th or 10th, but I'd imagine Stormfly is pretty keen to get by Lockstech so he can run the race at his own pace, because otherwise he's going to be getting out of sync by being held up by Lockstech, who's on a different strategy to him.
That's it. I'm just looking at Lockstech's fuel. He is sort of getting down to his final sort of few laps in this tank of fuel. So I'm just wondering if Stormfly might just be happy in that position and waiting until a pit stop, or whether he's going to try and push it and see if he can overtake him before the pit stop.
Well, we've got 12 and a half minutes to go, so I would think the Lockstech, as you say, if he's going to break this into 3 easy pieces, he's got to be fairly imminent on his pit stop coming up. But the other thing from his point of view, he could be trying to play to advantage. If he's going to come out with a fresh set of tyres, maybe a bit lighter fuel, they have similar fuel to Stormfly. And as we say, Stormfly looks like he's got the lower line. Oh, that was a bit of a sweep across into the pit lane there, wasn't it?
That was, yeah.
That woke Dan up, I imagine. Well, both of them are gone, because in front of him also, the other one that's gone to the pits is Sincor. So both the front 2 guys on the 2-stop strategy are into the pits. So I think that's going to be them out of it for the win. It's very much going to be down to Stormfly and Dan. And these guys, who I know are fast racers but clean racers, so we should see some really good racing here. And just as I say, Stormfly has picked up a half-second penalty. I imagine that was the track limits, and he has to drop that by the end of the lap. So this is going to cause him some pain. If he doesn't get rid of this before he gets out of this little hairpin section, he's going to be losing that down the straight. So he's got it down to 0.4, but he's going to need to drop that 0.2, 0.1, and yet Dan takes advantage of it, and Dan's through. Stormfly's got it down to 0.2. He just needs to drop off the rest of that penalty. But interestingly, Sincor's come out 8 seconds behind Stormfly, so I would imagine he's going to have much fresher tyres, but can he catch that gap up? It's a big ask, I would say. We've got just 10 and a half minutes remaining, so that's going to be something about 9, maybe 10 laps. So it's not impossible, because that's only 0.7 of a second a lap. So Sincor may not be out of it yet, and he's got his perfect results so far in the championship. So he's obviously going to be keen to get back up and get by these guys. So you think Sincor can do it from back there?
I think I don't think we should rule him out. Definitely not. He's now doing another hard charge to chase down the second place Stormfly. Stormfly is getting a little bit held up by Dan TGT, so that could play in Sincor's favour. But I'm definitely not going to count him out yet.
Because the one of that battle at the front now, who's really lost out, and I'm just going to bought his Lockstech down in 7th, because he was up, battling with Stormfly and Dan until he had to take his second stop, and because he was that bit further back from the front, that's dropped him into the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. So he's got some work to do there if he wants to get himself back up towards the front, because that 2-stopper for him really hasn't worked, because he's got Select just in front, then Timorous, and I wasn't sure, we'll just hop on board who's in it's Matteo's in 8th, so in 4th we've got Pineapple Head, but I'm pretty confident Pineapple Head, I think, has to go for another stop. Oh, I don't know, no, he hasn't. So I reckon he must have been a one-stopper, because he's on just half a tank. He's using the Racing Soft, which are starting to look quite worn, but he's got half a tank, which should take him to the end, because I imagine he's gone for a one-stopper. So Pineapple Head could come into play, and I think this might be his best result of the season if he can pull this one off. So I imagine he's going to be pretty chuffed with that one. So who have we got movers and shakers at? So Lockstech we can sort of expect to see coming through from 7th. because of the fresher tyres that he's got on the guys in front of him. So he may work his way back up to 4th. But I think the one I want to hop on board and look at is we've got Stormfly still trying to catch up with Dan after Stormfly got that half-second penalty. But the one who's coming is Season4. He's got that gap down to 3.3 seconds to Stormfly. So, I think I might be moving my pound over on my bet here. I don't know where your pound is, Jay, but I think I'm going to put my pound with Season4.
Yeah, I think you might be right. He's definitely got the better tyre wear. He's certainly got enough fuel to make it all the way to the end. Yeah, I think I might join you by putting my pound on top of Season4.
And because one place sadly I'm not putting my pound is on Timorous, because as I've always predicted he was going for his one-stop strategy. He's just gone for the pits again. So with 7 minutes to go, he obviously had quite a strange strategy going on tonight, or he misjudged something somewhere along the line. So he's just gone in for a second stop. So that's taken him right out of the ballpark tonight, which is unusual for Timorous. He's usually not far away. And the interesting thing I'm noticing here, Cage 100, who is the guy that hosts this room, so we're all very grateful to him for that. He's there. He's a lap car. He's shown his 10th, but he's catching Stormfly and Dan. Now, I don't know if that's because he's on a two-stopper as against Stormfly and Dan's one-stopper, but I've noticed he's in that sandwich at the moment between Stormfly in second and Season4 in third, and he's keeping the pace for these guys up the front. So I don't know if that's showing the relative pace of the two stoppers, that they're that much quicker in race, but they're having the pit stop loss is what's causing them to drop back. Certain points of the race, and then obviously their increased pace because of fresher tyres is allowing them to catch up.
Yeah, it just shows though how sort of close this championship is drivability wise.
Sorry, Season4's going for it. He's got Stormfly into turn 1, and he's clean manoeuvre down the inside, got Stormfly on the brakes. He's got fresher tyres. I don't know if they've got a different compound, Season4, compared to the two guys around him, Stormfly in first and Dan in first. Stormfly in third and Dan in first. I don't know if he's running a different tyre because he's running short stints. But he made that was a real mirror signal manoeuvre job at the end of the straight there. And Stormfly's been dispatched into third by Season4, and Season4 is now after Dan, and he's just really just driven straight up onto the back of Dan in the lead. So I don't know if I don't know if you can see the difference in tyre compounds there, Jay.
Yeah, Dan is running the racing softs, whereas Season4 and Stormfly are running the racing super softs.
Oh, does it look like Stormfly's going for the pits again? Oh, I think this is going to be painful because that's going to be 35 seconds. But I think he's got 25 seconds on Pineapple Head, so this might work out for him. I'm going to hop up with second place with Season4, but Stormfly's decided these racing super softs have had enough, and he's off. It's going to be a fairly quick pit stop because it's going to be probably very little, if any, fuel. But it's interesting that Stormfly seems to have changed his strategy, bearing in mind the gap he had behind, but he's never going to catch these two guys up with just 4 minutes to go, is he?
No, I've just seen Stormfly. He's gone in, he's changed to a fresh set of racing super softs, and probably about a quarter of a tank worth of fuel just to get into the end of the race. So the charge begins.
So, I'm talking about getting to the end of the race. I'm just on board with Season4 as he's shadowing Dan in the lead as they come around onto the main straight. Now, Dan is one that we know has gone for a single stop, but has he got enough fuel to get to the end, do we think?
Yes, I'm gonna go there. He's just sitting just under a quarter of a tank there, so I think he's definitely got more than enough.
And Season4 is doing a complete repeat manoeuvre of what he did to Stormfly. He's got alongside Dan as they come towards the first corner, down over the camber change, on the brakes, he's through into the lead. And he's just got another 3 minutes 40 seconds to make this a perfect 3-win start to this championship. I didn't really see that coming. I thought Dan and Stormfly had got the ideal strategy with that one stopper, and I didn't really see Season4 coming back at them that quickly, because there was that extra 30 odd second loss in the pit stops. I thought, that's an incredible comeback by him there. I didn't think that would be a winning strategy.
No, it's definitely fantastic drive. He's obviously definitely worked out the strategy almost down to a T.
And it's interesting now, with some of these, the 2-stop seems to work, and others the 1-stop seems to work, and it seems to depend on the driver and how they drive and how careful they are with their tyres as to whether the 1 or the 2-stop works for them. And I'm just jumping cameras. I've just dropped over the Lockstack, so I noticed there was a little pack together there. Lockstack, who was dropped down to 7th after that extra stop, has just got past Matteo and Pineapple Head. Pineapple Head, who was in that strong position in 4th. Unfortunately, with those longer stints, that one stopper has caused him. He's now sort of losing a little bit of pace here towards the end. But Lockstack has managed to elbow his way back up to 4th. But he's 6.5 seconds behind Stormfly. But of course, we know Stormfly is on those fresher tyres. But it looks like Matteo might be having a go at Lockstack. He's right under his rear wing to the first corner. And no, can't quite get it done on the brakes. They're really, really tight to each other here, coming out of the first corner right up against the wall. I do like this section of corners here, as you just drop down a little bit of speed on each one, don't you? You've got that first corner that's almost flat out, and then you drop one gear for that next sort of tight one, and the same again for the next right-hander. And then down to this hairpin section where great opportunity for overtaking down the inside there, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. You just got to sort of make sure that you don't run a bit too wide on that hairpin, as I found out to my own detriment a couple of times.
It was a bit of ambition over adhesion, was it?
Yeah, unfortunately so. It's one thing sort of making that manoeuvre, but making it stick is a whole different side of things.
I've done it. Oh, no.
That's it, you just end up breaking yourself.
There's another platform I use for racing, which is Assetto Corsa Competizione, which they call Gran Turismo the real driving simulator, but I would argue that Assetto Corsa is more of a simulator, obviously developed from the PC version, and it's so unforgiving. You get talking of unforgiving, Lockstack's off. He's on the grass. He's whacked the wall. I think he may have picked up some damage with that one. And he's just dropped back behind Matteo. He's getting going again. Pineapple Head can smell a 5th position here. I don't know how much damage Lockstack picked up there, but it would seem that was quite a wallop on the wall. But looking at his dash, I'm not really seeing much damage there at the moment.
No, I'm just having a look around the vehicle. It doesn't seem to be too much damage.
And with only 20 seconds to go, it's going to be a case of him just getting it to the finish now. Well, interestingly, first, second, and I think third is Stormfly, who's craftily waiting at the finish line. 4, 3, 2, 1. I wonder if he was a bit short on fuel.
Yes.
Oh no, he's messed it up. He's crossed the line, but not actually. Because Matteo's crossed the line, Lockstack and Pineapple and Select have all crossed the line. But they're that bit further down. Stormfly must have been a fraction of a second ahead of it of the time running out. He's now had to pick speed up and getting going again. So I don't know if he's a bit low on fuel. I will just have a quick look. Yeah, he's got no fuel. Oh dear, Stormfly's really messed this one up. He was hanging off in front of the finishing line as Season4 just goes across the finishing line to finish. So he's complete. Dan coming up in 2nd place. He crosses the finish line just 7 seconds behind. It's a good result there for Dan. Now Stormfly's the one who has literally no fuel. We've only got 24 seconds remaining. Now, I don't know how this is going to shake him out for the finish. Is this going to consider that he has gone further than Matteo? I'm not sure, because he's literally on no fuel. It's running on tick over.
Yeah, he's just sort of coasting around the circuit there. I'm not sure how that one's going to pay out either.
I don't know. Let's see what it decides to give, because I suppose technically he's gone further than those other guys. Oh, it has shown him as third. So yeah, well, that was quite a race. I didn't expect that strategy really came into play, didn't it? Because Season4, he came from left field, I think, for both of us, that we thought Dan and Stormfly had got it right with the one-stop strategy, but Season4 really made that two-stop strategy work, didn't he?
He certainly did, yeah. He's worked that out almost to perfection there.
And, you know, a good 7 seconds up the road, despite the fact he had a second pit stop, which cost him sort of 30 seconds or so he definitely had the pace in that car. And the interesting thing is, in that first stint of the race, Season4, Dan, Stormfly, Mattia and Lockstack were nose to tail, weren't they? So it wasn't as though any of them were, you know, easing the pace or anything like that. So it was quite interesting to see that as possibly the change of tyre compounds and so on, it then shook things up a little bit. But, you know, that first section of the race, when Dan and Stormfly carried on, I thought, well, they've got this one in the bag. But Season4 obviously had very much other ideas. So, let's look forward to where we are next week, because I'm trying to remember exactly where we are off to. We are off to Suzuka, which is a fantastic track for some really good racing there. A few famous corners like a 130R. Then we're off to Dragon Trails Gardens, which I think, is that the one with the chicane of doom, where people tend to come unstuck as they come. I'm not sure if that's Dragon Trail Garden or a different one. I might be thinking of a different circuit. And then we're off to Brazil for Interlagos, and then Sardegna A for round 7, and the final race we're back to Japan with Fuji. And all these races are the same format, 10-minute qualifying, a 40-minute race. If you want to get involved, there's a really active Facebook page for Flat Out E-Racing, and that's who you have to search. You can find us on Discord as well. The link is below the stream that you're watching at the moment. So if you want to get involved, we've also got a GT4 series, which is currently running Evos, which is on a Wednesday night, which Jay will be commentating on this week. So if you want to tune in on the YouTube channel, and you can click subscribe, click like, so you get the notifications, and you'll find out when we go live with our different championships. So overall, Jay, I think that was a cracking little race there, don't you?
Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah, congratulations to all the drivers, especially the top three. Some cracking drives and some brilliant strategy side of things there as well. Very impressed.
Yeah. No, that was good, and it was interesting how it shook some drivers out in places where you wouldn't necessarily expected to have seen them. So I think that's really good, and this, you know, we've tried different formats with this championship. We used to have 2 races with a reverse grid, but this new longer race with the damage on and the high fuels and high tyre usage has really brought a whole new game to this race series. So, you know, it's really great to see. So there we go. So thank you very much, Jay. Great for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hope everybody out there in YouTube world has enjoyed watching us, and you will all catch with us soon. So it's good night from me.
And good night from me.
Okay.